Welcome to Dungeon Academics. My name is Thomas and I will be your instructor. A lot of my creative process for this channel comes from experience in games. I'll be playing a board game or a tabletop RPG and something will happen and it will get me thinking about good things or bad things in games, good experiences, bad experiences, and that will give me an idea for a video topic. And something that just happened maybe an hour ago gave me this idea. I've mentioned in a couple of previous videos that my younger children have just got into Settlers of Catan and I'm really enjoying playing with them. Now, unfortunately, my youngest son, who is nearly 6, is home from daycare for the past 2 days. He's been feeling a bit poorly and he spent a lot of the time watching his favourite shows on an iPad or playing a SpongeBob game on the PlayStation, but every day he's also wanted to play Catan with me. So I've set it up and we've played a little 2-player game. Full rules, but obviously I'm helping him a lot with his decision process. And if I was to be brutally honest, my 5-year-old son is not a good tactical Catan player. But you wouldn't expect him to be. And it doesn't matter because he's having fun and I'm having fun playing with him. And that's the criteria for success that matters for me at the moment. I do this, I play these games with him because he enjoys them. And that's the most important thing. I also want him to develop his strategic thinking skills so that at some point in the future we'll be able to play a game together and he is good at the game and he will create a challenge for me. And I genuinely look forward to the day when he is good enough to beat me in a board game, because then I can play the board games and I can enjoy the game for what it is. Because I love playing board games, and part of playing a competitive board game is having a competitive partner or partners to play against. But this got me thinking, what does it mean to be good at a game like Dungeons and Dragons? It's a cooperative game. Most tabletop roleplay games are fully cooperative. So what does it mean to be good at a roleplay game? Now, I mentioned this in this video already, but the most important thing is that everyone sat around the table is having a good time. That is the primary metric for measuring, are you a good player? If everyone is enjoying themselves, then everyone is having a good time and the game is going well. But there are certain things that can detract from the experience or reinforce the experience. And that's what I'd like to talk about in this video. What does it mean to be good at Dungeons and Dragons? Now, the first thing is knowing the rules. If you know how to play the game and you can take your turn in a reasonable amount of time without slowing gameplay down to look rules up, that is an important thing. Now, obviously, not every player is going to be an expert in the game, and that's okay. It is the responsibility for more experienced players to help less experienced players learn how the game works so they can be less frustrated with the rules and enjoy the game for what it is. That being said, less experienced players do have a responsibility to try and learn the rules as well, and that involves reading the core books and understanding how your class works. This does put some responsibility to spend time outside of the game understanding the mechanics of the game itself. Now, not everyone has a huge amount of time to commit to that, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to become fluid in the game in a handful of games, and that's okay. But there is a responsibility to learn the rules. Next is being an effective member of your team. Dungeons and Dragons and other roleplay games are still games. You have objectives which your characters are trying to achieve. And having your character be an effective member of the team and helping them move successfully towards their objectives is important. If you are playing a character who doesn't contribute to the social role-playing aspect of the game, who isn't helping solve puzzles or explore areas, and who is more of a liability in combat because others are having to spend their time resurrecting them every turn, then your character is not adding to the team. So I think there is a responsibility to play in a way that enhances the experience of everyone around the table by not necessarily power gaming. I definitely don't want to suggest that, but by being an effective and useful member of the team, you make everyone else's gaming experience better. So understanding the rules and being an effective member of the team, I think, are quite important. Now, there's an important philosophy I have when designing my own characters, that some situations my character is going to be the rock star. This is the thing that they are designed to excel at. But I also understand that other people are going to want to excel at different times, or maybe even at the same time as me, and that's okay. As a player, it's my responsibility to make sure that all the other players have their moments to shine. And if I can help them and make them even better, that's great. Otherwise, I understand that it's time for me to step back and let them have their moment in the spotlight. And I think a successful team is one that celebrates the strengths of each character and player combination. So I'm building my character Doug the Turtle, who is definitely going to be a powerful character in combat. I enjoy dynamic, exciting, tactical melee combat, and I've designed him so that he will do lots of different things in every turn. It's not going to be a slow process. It's just a case of me doing 1, 2, 3 different things every turn rather than the same thing 3 times. Now there are going to be situations where other players have characters that are going to be good in combat as well. So when I use my character, I'm also aiming to think, how can I help set up other people to be effective? If I know a player has a spell that goes in a straight line, some sort of lightning bolt spell, if I can help knock enemies into a line so that when they do their spell, it's going to be even more devastating, that's going to make them feel amazingly powerful. If someone's got a fireball spell and I can use repelling blast to corral enemies into a tight knot so that they can then be exploded, the player that casts the fireball, they're going to feel like a rock star. And that's good. So if I can help other people, even whilst I'm doing my thing, fantastic. Outside of combat, I'm going to be mostly a wizard. I'm going to have a massive suite of spells, and the majority of them are not going to be damage dealing spells. So can I use my spells to help other people do even better? If we have a bard who's wanting to do a performance to woo over the people, maybe I can make Tensor's floating disc to lift them above the people so their voice can be heard louder. Maybe I can use minor illusion or prestidigitation to add subtle effects to their performance to make their moment that much cooler. Or maybe, if they're in the middle of a speech, I can just shut the hell up and listen and let them have their moment in the spotlight. As a player, knowing when to help and when to sit back is a really important thing in improving other people's gaming experience. So to be a good role player, to be good at roleplay games, understanding what your party is good at and letting them have their moment to shine, I think is really important. Now, there's lots of other etiquette issues that involve behavior around the table, but that's more of a social side of gaming. I'm more focused on game mechanics and in-game experience. So for me, those are 3 things that I mark as being important to being a good Dungeons and Dragons player. Knowing your rules and not taking up too much time in the game. being an effective member of your team to enhance the gameplay experience of everyone, and knowing when you're the rock star and when you're the support act. If you can follow those, I think that will be an important part of everyone around the table having a great experience. And remember, everyone around the table having a great experience is the metric that counts as to whether the game is good. So, what do you think makes a good player in Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop roleplay game? Is there something that I've missed? I probably have. Be interesting to read your thoughts though. So please add some comments, tell me what you think, and enjoy your next game, whatever it may be.